This is the introduction for Unit 2, Microeconomics. So I want to take you through the title page real quick and show you what this unit is all about. The first thing we need to look at is our overarching question, which is, how do market forces affect the decisions of individuals, organizations, and societies? So what we're looking at is how markets, basically supply and demand, affect us as people, organizations, businesses, and societies or governments. So let's take a look here, and we will scroll down and I'll show you this picture. This is the basis. You can probably learn more from this graph here than just about anything else. So if you really want to know what this unit is about, this graph does a great job. Microeconomics is about the interactions in the markets between buyers, which are buyers and consumers, us, and then sellers and producers, people selling a good or service. So the three aspects of buyers and consumers are the fact that there is the law of demand, which we'll talk about later, the determinants of demand. Those are the things other than price that affect demand, and the elasticity of demand. All elasticity means is how stretchy the demand is. Think of elastic pants. And so when you think of elasticity, we're talking about how necessary or unnecessary a good is. A necessary good like medicine will have a much different demand than something that's unnecessary like Doritos. So we look at the seller's side here. We have the law of supply, which we will talk about later, and just like in science, like the law of motion or law of gravity, the law of supply is pretty constant too. And so econ, the law of demand and supply are two constant things that we will talk about. And it's fairly easy to explain once we get there. The determinants of supply are the things other than price that affects what sellers want to sell. And then the elasticity of supply, once again, how necessary or unnecessary a good is. The key element here is viewpoint. If you can remember the viewpoint that we are talking either as a buyer or a consumer or as a seller and a producer, that's the key element. So if you can think about, am I buying a good, am I purchasing it, or am I supplying it? So when you look at the graph down here, you see two lines, and this axis right here is price, and then the bottom axis is quantity. And there are two lines here. The blue line is the demand line, is what we want to buy, and the supply line is what people want to sell. And where those two cross is the perfect price. We call that equilibrium, and we will eventually get to that point. So let me scroll down here and show you the kind of the focus questions for this unit. Number one says, how does information about market influence the decisions of individuals and organizations? So when we think about how information that we receive, how does that influence what we do in organizations? One of the first things we do in this unit is really not to do with supply and demand. We're going to take a look at corporate structure and how different businesses are organized, whether they are sole proprietorships or one-person partnerships, limited liability corporations, LLCs, or corporations. And that organization will do a lot depending on how that business behaves and acts and performs in society. Two, how does price provide information that influences the behavior of consumers and producers in the market? How does price tell us things that make us behave in a certain way? So if the price goes down, our behavior will be a certain way. Like, yes, I want to buy more. If price goes up, I will kind of step back. One of the things we can talk about is gasoline. If the price of gasoline goes up $1, my pleasure driving, and maybe my driving up north or driving to Florida, greatly decreases. Number three, how can the study of microeconomics enable people and organizations to make rational decisions in the allocation of resources? So last unit you learned about rational decisions. So how does the information in microeconomics make us decide how we're going to give out resources or distribute them to people, allocate them? So when we look at this, how are we going to actually dole out resources in our society, both as homes, businesses, and governments? All right, when you come to class tomorrow, we will talk about corporate structure and how that influences people. Thank you and have a great day.